Hello friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. Daryl Morey gets his man. Paul George has signed a 4-year max contract with the Sixers as the cap space offseason strategy finally pays off. Tyrese Maxey is also inked to a 5-year max. Kelly Oubre returns on a 2-year deal. The Sixers bring back Andre Drummond on a 2-year deal as well. What else could be coming, and where do the new-look Sixers stack up in the Eastern Conference? The Flyers select center Jett Luchanko with the 13th pick in the NHL draft. Matvei Mishkov signs his entry-level contract. Eric Johnson returns on a 1-year deal, while Garnett Hathaway is signed to a 2-year extension. Will more moves be coming from Danny Briere? The Phillies split the 4-game series with the Marlins as the depleted lineup struggles at the plate. Injuries to Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper are said to be mild, and the pair could return before the All-Star break. All that and more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Good to be back. We're here on an early, kind of a short week here, Tuesday before the July, so we had to move some things around, but it's kind of nice to keep the week going that way, throw some, mix it up a little bit, so not too bad. Beautiful day, did some grilling after work, got to go out there, enjoy the sunshine. It's been absolutely pleasant in Philadelphia, so can't complain. But yeah, man, some exciting shit all around. It's nice this time of year because it gets kind of quiet in terms of, baseball is really the only sport in town. You got the Euro Cup and you got the Copa America, so you got some other things popping off. But
R.I.P. America.
Free agency this time of year is great, so that was great to see the Sixers make some moves, see the Flyers do some exciting things. But all around, a pretty good short week.
Yeah, it feels weird to be back on a Tuesday. I don't think I particularly like it, but whatever.
I like it knowing that I have off Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's Tuesday, but for all intents and purposes, it's essentially Thursday.
This is like playing like a Sunday night football, then having to play like Thursday night football.
That's a good point. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, we went to work.
We haven't even had time to recover from our injuries.
I know.
But
we're out here.
One of us might tear an ACL, pull a hammy.
Big time.
We had to keep the game plan vanilla.
But we do it for you guys. See this turnaround, we adjust, we compromise.
Anything for our loving fans.
Big time.
For sure. What else is going on? Dude, fucking, we were talking about the debate last week, and I feel like it's just gotten even more, dude, I remember...
Go on.
Well, I just remember, afterwards people were, being like, oh man, Biden's got to drop out and blah, 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 and I was just like, yeah, right, like, that's just, there's no fucking way that's actually going to happen, but more and more it's like, it might actually happen, dude. It's like every single fucking person in the media... who are normally just like Democratic Party like sycophants are calling on him to drop out. You had I think Kamala Harris has pulled ahead of him in like head-to-head polls now. Fucking I think like they were talking to James Clyburn, that like senator from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. I saw this, yeah.
And like he said that like he would support Kamala Harris if she ended up being the nominee, which is normally you would just be like, well, Biden's our nominee. Like, that's it. You wouldn't even entertain that idea. But it's like, damn. Dude, it's not looking good for Diamond Joe, dude.
Nah, my man is extremely incoherent time and time again. Just, he got obliterated in that debate. I don't really know how else to say it.
No two ways around it. I mean, 80...
he's 83. I looked it up.
So,
yeah.
I mean, what do you expect? Tired, so he looked good the next day in North Carolina.
During the day.
Yeah, how did that? That's right. It was during the
day.
Started
so you're not 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
How are you going to be president when you can't stay up past 9 o'clock?
Yeah,
man.
That's when all the good stuff happens.
Right.
I know, yeah.
Well, we'll see. It's early on. Maybe he'll bounce back and surprise everybody in the next debate.
SEAL Team 6 if you're. But dude, also this is another hilarious bit of news that I saw today. This is a tweet from. Ken Delanian from NBC says, Hunter Biden has joined meetings with President Biden and his top aides this week at the White House. 4 people familiar with the matter tell my colleagues, who are told the reaction from some senior White House staff has been, quote, what the hell is happening?
Nice.
Dude, so he's got his
His crackhead
criminal,
son.
His criminal, like, crackhead son sitting in on meetings with him now.
Well, he saw that debate, so you know what? My dad needs a couple uppers real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, that's the thing.
That's
He's
what
like,
he
he's
needs.
got the good drugs.
Yeah.
He knows where to get that good shit.
It's just for a supplier drop-off. That's it. Goes in there, stabs up his dad. Gets a little perky for that North Carolina debate, and then they're like, all right, we need you here back for that next debate as well. He'll be up there. Yeah, I feel a lot better up here today.
yeah. He's been getting the bunky shit. Like,
honestly, even some makeup would go a long way. Like, just don't let him look deathly ill.
He looked like he was on his deathbed.
Spruce him up a little bit.
Just constantly looking off in space like
drooling. This. Yeah. He never looked at the right camera. He's like, you're a liar. He was like, no. Yeah, it was just, But what do you expect? No one expected him to be out there and fucking go toe-to-toe or be quick and coherent.
But, Hunter's definitely got to know where to get the good stuff.
Oh, definitely. And he's got the money for it.
It's like, these local dealers, they're stepping on my shit.
Yeah.
They're putting baby powder in my nose candy.
Hunter's going to try to run. It's like he doesn't have any credentials to run. Could you imagine, though? If that's who ended up being the Democrats ended up choosing.
At this point, fucking...
fight fire with fire, dude.
Right, right.
Just we have, one, degenerate,
convicted felon against convicted felon.
Rapist game show host, and then we bring in our guy, crack.
At least he's got age on his side. He's younger, so we got more life in him.
That has always been the problem with the
dude.
Democrats.
It is funny too. That guy. I mean, Hunter Biden's in his 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
Smokes crack all the time and still looks pretty good for his age.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get the good drugs, man.
Yeah. Someone was saying there's one of these guys who's I don't know what his name is or whatever, but he's this dude in his 40s who's he's one of these rich guys who just is terrified of dying and just wants to live his and doing weird blood transfusion, all these weird new age techniques, and the guy looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
He looks
and he's how old?
40 something, but he looks older than that. And meanwhile, Hunter Biden is just ripping the crack pipe on the regular, and
he's that good Northeast energy right there.
Looking nice.
Consistency is key.
But that's how when they always interview these, what do you call it when someone's 100-year-old centenarians?
Oh yeah.
When they always interview them, they ask them, "What's your secret to staying alive?" Usually the person just goes, I drink a couple beers a day or I smoke a couple cigs every day. That's the key to secret. That's the key to my secret. That's the secret to my success. The secret to my good health.
Keep that routine going.
Yeah, so I guess the bottom line is everyone needs to indulge in their vices. Because, man, you can't spend all your life worrying about what happens if you do this, that, or the other. You're going to worry yourself to death, literally.
How to indulge in your vices within reason or within restraint,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Hunter Biden necessarily indulged with any sort of restraint.
He's flying low, close to the sun, that one, yeah.
Hey, he's greedy.
But when your dad's president, I don't know, he's snorting cocaine off chicks' asses in hotel rooms. He's doing this thing.
Doing drugs in the White House.
Whatever.
He's just living life. He doesn't care, man. That's the secret to a long, successful, healthy life.
Right.
It is going to be so funny if Kamala does end up taking over and wins. Because you have Hillary Clinton, who pretty much spent her entire life trying to get up to this position or whatever, and just completely the most epic bag fumbling I think in the history of the world. There's no one has fucked it up more, and then Kamala Harris comes by and just sweeps right in there, gets it. That would be funny.
I wonder who's fumbled the bag more, Hillary or Doc Rivers, though. Hold on.
Damn. Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Doc's at least won one championship.
Probably Doc. I mean, she, all intents and purposes, she only really ran for that one big race and lost terribly, but she had a pretty successful run in her field, I would say.
That's
Technically, Doc Rivers had way more opportunities to win more and failed more.
That's a good point. Doc's batting average is definitely lower.
Right.
That's fair.
She's won a fair share of her battle. She had a terrible end to her career that pretty much just ended it all, but She did a lot of good things. She ran. I mean, everything she ran for, she won pretty much, except for that. Where Doc, it would be like
Doc wasn't getting cheated on in the White House, though.
I'm not talking about her personal life or Doc's personal life.
She took a big L for that.
I'm talking about 3-1 leads that he's blown. I'm talking about having a good team pretty much every year of his career and not going anywhere. I'm bringing back the Clippers. Couldn't do that's all I'm saying.
That is true. Hillary doesn't have Lawrence Fishburne poorly playing her in a TV series.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, I mean, you'd figure that Hillary Clinton probably has a much higher average overall if you count all of the, all the various murders that we don't know about.
Right.
All the people that have been snuffed out by the Clinton crime family.
Yeah. So again, consistency. She just had really one big bad loss. It just happened to be like a really big bad loss.
Yeah, and she's still got some victories in the family. I mean, Bill was president twice.
Yeah.
He set a precedent in
Played
getting a
the sax.
blowjob in the White House.
Yeah. Dude killed it.
Yeah, so, yeah, I guess Doc has fun. Wow, Doc, that's epic, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even beat Hillary Clinton.
And that's saying a lot.
She'd probably beat him in a foot race, too.
Mm-hmm.
The way he limps around with his bad hip.
Definitely.
Oh.
Except for that one time when she was coming out the one van when they were trying to say that she was in bad health and
I
she was
feel
like...
great.
Yeah.
She had like the sunglasses on, was just trying to.
Shows like your aunt fucked up like the day after Thanksgiving. You're like, damn, man, you all right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more I think about it, there are so many parallels between her and Doc Rivers. They both fumbled the bag epically multiple times. They're both pathological liars. They
Big
both
time,
had they both lived the prime of their careers in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild. There are a lot of parallels, man. I could probably sit here and draw more. Whatever. We have more important things to talk about than Doc Rivers and Hillary Clinton comparisons.
Yeah. Speaking of fumbling the bag,
both have tertiary connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
you know who did it fumble
Doc
the bag?
does?
No, I'm just making.
No, I don't think.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Let me get a massage. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I only knew him as a friend who had a cool plane.
Damn.
I didn't know about any of those kids.
Doc probably was hanging out there.
Definitely.
Little
He's
St.
in the same
James.
kind of area. But you know who didn't fumble the bag, though? Paul George.
Yeah, Trevor,
Yeah.
play the clip,
Daryl
dude.
Morey.
You got to play the clip.
Oh yeah, us.
Yeah, so we had talked about, we had thrown some cold water on the Paul George thing last
Yep.
week. Trevor's about to play this clip from last week's episode. We were over it.
I think the other thing too is that people are just have the sour taste in their mouth from the fact that like the ship with the Knicks and the fact that we're looks like the Paul George dream is dead. And we're gonna talk about that too.
just won. The Knicks
Is that playing through the headset?
No, it's not.
What are you doing?
I don't know why it's not working. Well, keep talking.
Yeah,
Either
I guess
way-
I'll keep talking. I'll see if I can pull it up on my phone in the meantime.
Either way, I had
Some technical difficulty.
Oh wait, there. it
Oh,
is.
there we go.
Alright. Well, you guys should say something, but
Yeah, so he's
Well, either way, I think that we kind of haven't been in a position. We've been so let down over the last couple of years of being excited for a big free agent signing, and then we don't get it, or we get someone that we're like, we'll see what happens, and then we fumble the bag that way. So Paul George, I think we all deep down were like, it would be probably the better of the signings out there to get. He's like the last remaining top guy to get, but in reality, Daryl Morey hasn't really been giving us any kind of information, so it was hard to tell and be like, no, we're definitely going for him. He tampered all the stuff before we got to the draft. I'm not making any moves until the draft. I want to get through that weekend first. Yeah. So you're thinking typical Daryl Morey, what's going to happen, but he surprised us all.
here it is.
well against.
I mean, I think the other thing too is that people are just have the sour taste in their mouth from the fact that like the shit with the Knicks and the fact that we're looks like the Paul George dream is dead.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
We're not gonna,
Boston just won.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Thought
we,
the Paul George dream was dead.
we thought it was dead. We were very much proven wrong. Although what I will say though, man, is it was very just nerve-wracking knowing that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Just seeing teams drop out and just waiting and waiting. I stayed up till like 11 o'clock or midnight.
Yeah, waiting for the Woj.
Waiting for it to happen, and then I was just like, all right, I got to go to bed. And then this was funny, right? So all signs when I went to bed were pointing to it happening. The Clippers had released that statement thanking him and saying all this stuff about the CBA, why they couldn't keep him. The Magic were out there, or he signed KCP. And I forget who the other team was, but they were out. So all signs were pointing to it, but I'm just thinking, hey, I can't stay up for this any longer. I got to go to bed. So then I go to bed. And I have a dream, right? I have a dream straight up that I wake up in the morning and he ended up signing back with the Clippers.
Damn.
So then this is deranged. I really have dreams about Philly sports like that pretty often. But so then I wake up, it's probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up to go take a pee. And I come back and I'm just like, okay, let me check my phone and see. And then literally at 3:30 a.m., that's when the contract... the signing was announced. Just like, man, but I imagine if
your
my dream was
true,
real and he just ended up going back to the Clippers.
Well, I don't like that dream if that was true, but thank God your dreams aren't always true.
Yeah, the Nolan Smith one was right, but this one was pretty much inaccurate. And for that, we will celebrate some Johnny Walker Blue
Oh, hell yeah.
from Hannah and Lewis. Thank you. I guess thank me for officiating y'all's wedding, but thank you for the gift. And usually we celebrate with 99 bananas. But between the Michkov news, he officially signed his ELC yesterday. We got this going on. Paul George.
Yeah, man.
It's time to sip some good liquor with the boys.
Appreciate that. But yeah, exciting news. I think that, and again, I keep throwing it back to last year, but, Daryl Morey was saying that he was taking last year off from a star chasing or star hunting, whatever he quoted a couple years ago about that, in preparation for the next couple off seasons. So you're thinking, all right, well, let's see what happens. But you're seeing gradually guys fall off the board, other guys getting pretty big contracts. So you're thinking, oh, man, I don't know if he's going to pull it off or not. We get a good draft pick with the first round pick, obviously. And then he comes through with the PG deal. On top of that, Andre Drummond's coming back to Philly, which is great for a 2-year deal. Brings back Kelly Oubre. So I think it's been a pretty successful run so far. I wouldn't say A+, but I think that it gives you enough to feel confident or have some hope, this offseason for sure. But Paul George is definitely a big win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, probably the best possible outcome you could have seen happening going into the offseason. Someone passed me that. My arms aren't that long.
Not bad. I thought you could reach it.
Yeah, not quite. All right, well, cheers.
Cheers. That's drinking,
brothers.
buddy.
Cheers, everybody.
To Paul George.
Yeah, it's Paul George, finally a Sixer.
His long
it's so smooth.
Career.
Yeah, I never doubted it. It's like I definitely doubted it.
I think we all doubted it pretty heavily.
Well, I think, too, it's a good win. You saw Maxey to the max, which was pretty much inevitable.
Yeah, we knew that was happening.
I think that it's also commitment. I don't know who put the article out today, but someone was saying that, it's Embiid isn't as... He's more patient than I think people thought. I think people were thinking that, if they didn't build around him and Maxey this season, maybe the trade rumors would come up more toward the end of the season or him leave, whatever it would be. But I think he's going to be a Sixer for life. I think that your opportunity to keep him is non-existent. You don't have to think about it anymore. He's going to be a Sixer for forever. But the window now to win that's what's closing. I mean, Embiid's 30 years old, has his injury proneness. You got younger in the draft. Maxey's an up-and-coming superstar. Pretty much almost popped that last year. But, first-time All-Star, things like that. Still very young. What is he, 23?
Yeah.
So, Oubre's still pretty much, he's fairly young.
28,
yeah,
29.
He's fairly young, all it for the Sixers.
Yeah.
So you get Paul George back in here at 34, 30, right?
He's 34, yeah.
So, he doesn't have to be the lead superstar guy like he was in Indiana or a major piece in the Clippers. I think he can have a little bit of a major role, but not as physically dominating, which could be good for him to give him some longevity. But it's a reason to be excited again.
Yeah. I mean, Paul George doesn't have to be the number one guy. He's been that guy with Indiana, with OKC. He was the number 2 guy with the Clippers for a lot of the time. Here he gets to come in, be the number 3. I'm sure there'll be some days where he is the number 2. Hell, there might be some days where he's the number 1, but it's not going to be consistent every night where he's relied on to score 25, 28 plus points a game, create so much offense, and to be the number 1 defender on the team, right? So in that sense, he kind of gets just to come along for the ride. He's never won a championship. So this is opportunity to make that long playoff run, really opportunity for Embiid as well. But the other thing is plenty of teams have big threes or have had big threes that just didn't work. Look at the Suns this year with Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and KD.
The Bucks.
That just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or the Bucks with Dame, what do you call it, Middleton.
Yep,
and Giannis. That doesn't really work, mostly because Middleton was hurt for much of the season, but it didn't work. Whereas with the Sixers, functionally, it all makes sense. Right. You have your perimeter creator, your guard, your penetrating guard, the Maxey. You have your wing that can bomb threes and can still play a little defense in George. Then you have your interior presence, your kind of do everything as a big man, Embiid. I mean, as far as big threes go, I this is hyperbole to say this, so I'm not saying this. I guess I am
just
saying
it. Fucking pull the Band-Aid off.
It's not on that level, but it's kind of the Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh big three. That makes a lot of sense.
It has potential. I think, like you said, it's a well-rounded group of threes. And you have some pretty exciting young cats around them, too, for a supporting role. You know, I mean, you kept Oubre, which was huge. I think having a actual solid backup for Embiid is a major win as well.
Yeah, Drummond's huge,
Drummond.
dude.
I mean, he did great when he was here the first go-around. It sucked that we had to get rid of him for the Harden deal and all that stuff. But I think that, you know, I would have loved to have kept him. I mean, he was doing well at the time of the trade. So
yeah, I mean, he's probably the best backup center we had to that point, like with Embiid.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
Horford was better, but Horford was so overpaid and was just sulk the entire time he was here.
This was all, but a dramaless, decent player, Andre Drummond is definitely the best center we've had.
He does some things on the court that will elicit some head scratches.
I'm okay with that. Listen, that's okay, but I think just from a sheer physical, like, even just matching up wise too, like, he's pretty much another arguably same size as Embiid, so matches up well that way. You know, people were thinking of it, if even B-ball Paul, like, people were still kind of testing his ass here and there, even though he was a center. But he's that dude. He's still a big bully kind of guy, which gives you that same kind of feel. So if Embiid is out for a few games, you still can operate in the same sense. He won't give you the scoring production, but he'll give you the defense. He'll give you that presence that you need in the paint to just not get owned all the time.
Yeah. I mean, last year he averaged, I want to say, 8 points and 9 rebounds coming off the bench. I mean, dude was almost averaging a double-double coming off the bench, which, I mean, let's face it, Embiid's going to miss, we'll generally say 15 games.
Yeah, I was going to say
he's probably going to miss 20, 25 games. Think about this year when the Sixers didn't have him. I saw a stat they were 11-20.
Yep.
With Drummond, that probably becomes much closer to a 500 record.
Definitely. And a lot of those games that we lost, we only lost by like 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
Like, it was brutal.
And then you figure, if you pick up 4 or 5 games, that's 4 or 5 games in the standings. You go from, what were we, a 7 seed this year to probably a 2 or a 3?
Yep.
Makes a world of difference.
Yeah, you start off at home. You don't have to do the play-in tournament with an injured Embiid and all that, you know.
Yeah, so
I'm excited. I even like the Eric Gordon pickup too. I mean,
he can bomb
all
threes.
intents and purposes, he was averaging 11 points and almost 2 rebounds a game.
Another ex-Rocket.
Dude.
Yeah. But he's not bad. But you just have to love Daryl Morey's commitment to a bit, you know.
Oh, he can bomb threes, though. Here's the deal, right?
Yeah. For the deal we got him on, I'm cool with it.
A league minimum for $3 million something a year. He shot 38% from 3 on 6 threes per game, mostly as a bench player.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think he still played 68 games too. Like he didn't sit out for all of them really.
And these aren't threes where his feet are right behind the line like Toby or Buddy Hield. These are threes when he's 30 feet from beyond the arc.
Yeah.
So late shot clock and Embiid's getting doubled. He can push it out to Gordon at the top of the key. He's just bombing threes, man. The Sixers will have a few bombers. They'll have McCain, George, Gordon, Maxey can bomb some threes, right? So yeah, they'll have a few bombers now. They still need to get a few more yet, but the team makes a lot more sense than it did this time last year. Well, certainly this time last year they still had Harden. This time 3 months ago.
This time last year was a disaster. But yeah.
Well, Harden hadn't come out and called Daryl Morey a liar yet.
No, but you were put in that tough position where like we couldn't make a move because we didn't know what to do with Harden. So like we people were falling off the board left and right free agency wise. You're like, well,
he kind of pushed us into a corner.
He fucked us up big time.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of, I love that he's ended up signing a 2-year, $70 million deal.
After all that,
after all that shit.
Yeah.
Just basically signed probably the same deal that we would have given him.
We would have given him 3 years, 30-some million, exact same deal. But the crazy thing about this, right, is Daryl Morey turned the Harden opt-in last year into Paul George, 2 first-round picks from the Clippers, 2 unprotected picks from the Clippers, a second, and a pick swap.
Yeah.
All because Harden opted in. So there was a time in the group chat, which you're now a part of, Pat. There was a time in the group chat.
Another big free agent signing this week.
Yeah, you're a big acquisition too, you and Will. But so there was a time in the group chat a couple weeks ago, me and Mir Long were talking. Shout out Mir Long. And we were saying that Mir Long said Daryl Morey was the most overrated GM in NBA history, which Mir Long can exaggerate a little bit. But I said I felt like Daryl Morey was probably a top half of the league GM at best, and that the league had passed him by. This goes to show I was wrong, man. He's patient, and sometimes it'll drive you up a wall as a fan. But same thing with Harden and Simmons. the Harden deal was kind of a flame out, but I wasn't mad at him at the time for getting James Harden for Ben Simmons. And again, I'm not mad at him for playing the cap space game, playing we're just going to acquire Buddy Hield at the deadline game, because it paid off at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like it. And you got to factor in, too, the Nick Nurse factor, too, where it's not like we have all these pieces now. We have Doc Rivers as a coach. Nick Nurse, all intents and purposes, turned that team. I mean, they did well. Without Embiid, they could have done better, but for a first-year head coach for Sixers, at the Sixers, I should say, they played their ass off for him. I think everybody had nothing but great things to say, which was good. There was no kind of, locker room drama, so to speak, that way. No one was like, he's playing us too hard or he's too intense, because he got that kind of rep in Toronto. But I'm excited to see how he uses these new pieces too, and with an invigorated team. You know what you have with Maxey and Embiid, your familiarity with other guys. But I'm looking forward to all that.
Yeah, it should be. It's going to be fun to see. They still have a few holes to fill yet. They still could use a backup guard. They still could use a power forward.
Yeah.
They don't really have anyone that can play that position. They still need a little depth, but on paper, this team makes a lot more sense and just better. Here's a question. I was thinking this, right, when they signed Drummond. Do they win the Knicks series if they have him?
I think easily. I think
with the rebounding, I mean, that could have made a huge difference.
We outscored them by 2 points, but half the games that we lost, we got out-rebounded a shit ton. I mean, everybody was just owning us. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, with people pulling there, you lose that intensity, and that, for a center, he's not really a dominating factor. And we run with a dominating center. We don't do well with a smaller size center that way, where, you got Embiid in there, you got Drummond now. You get probably 4 or 5 more boards than you would have without him. And that's a total game changer in such a tight series that we had with the Knicks.
Yeah, that's true. I think the thing that I'm kind of concerned about is Drummond defensively when it comes to certain pick and roll coverages probably isn't the best.
Right.
But B-Ball Paul wasn't either. So, yeah, you bring up a good point. The rebounding kind of just, what's the word I'm looking for? It just overcomes all of that, the rebounding advantage that he would give us.
For his age and all that. Yeah,
he might give up a couple buckets defensively, but he'll make up for it with a few offensive rebounds, a few putbacks. He'll deter a couple shots at the rim. Yeah, they probably do win that Knicks series with him.
He's got that dog. He's got that nasty energy, too, in there where people, there's no problem throwing a shoulder or hitting anybody.
Yeah, he's just a huge dude. That man's massive, dude.
Yep.
Just like shoulders.
And we saw in that Knicks series, we were just, and even when you eventually had to play Boston, we just are undersized in a lot of other areas.
Yeah.
So when Embiid's out, people were just taking advantage of all that. So I think this gives you a little bit of a cushion. Obviously, the biggest factor with this team is going to be health moving forward. But, we'll see how all that transpires.
Yeah, Embiid's never healthy in the playoffs. Paul George has had his share of injury history over his career, but if there's ever a time to practice load management, it's this season. You can stagger him. Embiid sits, George plays. George sits, Embiid plays. Maxey plays a lot because he's young and healthy yet. The bottom line is you should have 2 stars on the court most of the time.
Definitely.
Instead of just one.
I think it puts us in a good position to lock up the 3rd seed in the East. I'm really not that afraid of the Bucks.
Who's 1 and 2?
I think you got to go Boston, New York.
Okay, you still have the Knicks ahead of us?
For right now, I think, we look decent on paper. We look like we improved, but until they all play together, and that was kind of the crutch last year where, it was great to bring in Buddy Hield, but then Embiid wasn't there for a while, and then you get Embiid coming back in at 80%. And
that's probably generous.
But either way, maybe for that playoff push, he was 80%. And then he kind of had a downfall in the playoffs, but I think that the Knicks are a more stable team as of right now.
They have more chemistry. Okay,
more definitely more. They had more chemistry last year. Now they definitely have more chemistry.
Villanova had more chemistry in 2016.
Right.
I will say I was pleased to see Hartenstein sign elsewhere. Dude was driving me crazy during all those little floaters.
Yeah.
Oh god,
killing us.
I was having nightmares of that during that series.
Yeah.
Just every time he's open 10 feet from the bucket, that little push shot over and over. I still can't believe that man's half black, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
With a name like Hartenstein, and he doesn't even have no black features. Like sometimes light-skinned people and white people have some black features. He doesn't have any.
No.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
Never would not
I
have
would
known.
never have guessed that. No, but so either way, I still think the Knicks. I think it's Boston, Knicks, and then us. We're positioned to be third. I'm not really anybody else in the East. I think is pretty much a crapshoot. I don't like the Bucks. Don't really.
I think we could take the Knicks. Here's the deal, right? So, Hartenstein, granted, Mitchell Robinson was kind of their starting center. Another dude that's always hurt,
Yeah.
right? And when healthy, I mean, I dare say Hartenstein was better in a lot of ways. So the Knicks not having him is huge. Also,
Plus, what's his name wasn't even playing.
Randall.
Yeah.
So, but I think Randall makes them worse because then him and Brunson kind of, I don't know. There's only one. Not to spit the old head cliche. There's only one ball.
Yeah.
And him and Brunson can't share it. So Randall will go off and start trying to do his thing, and he'll start gunning. And then I think the team chemistry suffers for that.
Yeah.
Why do you think they were so good without him?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I think Randall's going to screw with the chemistry a little bit. I think that the Sixers...
he already is the odd man out.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's the only one that didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the Sixers coaching have the advantage. Like, Tom Thibodeau is a solid coach, but I don't think he's anything to write home about. I think Nick Nurse is probably a better coach, even though I've had my bones to pick with him this season. I think he has a better roster now.
Yeah.
So it's time for him to coach it up. And I think, whereas in this playoffs, the Sixers had two of the best 3 players in the series, but then the Knicks had the best, 3 through 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that's kind of even, where the Sixers have probably 3 of the best 5. And then if you look at it top, both starting lineups, it's probably a push between the two of them.
Definitely.
So, I mean, yeah, the Sixers need to fill some holes. They need to bring some depth in. But I could see the Sixers taking the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And I'm usually, obviously, y'all know me, I'm usually very negative on the Sixers.
No.
But, I guess, what else can we say? Yo, NBA free agency's ass, dude. This was so disappointing compared to, you remember 5 years ago when the Sixers, the 2019 free agency, when we traded Jimmy Butler for Josh Richardson, signed Tobias, signed Horford, and all that happened in the first 20 minutes of free agency. You know what the reason why that didn't happen? Because they don't have tampering anymore.
Yeah.
Because, before teams would tamper all the time.
Except for that little Embiid wing, that was always funny as shit.
Yeah, how much do you think that played a part?
Yeah, I mean...
Embiid showed up there. I think he showed up knowing Paul George was going to be there at that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that wasn't planned for Embiid to be on there. He found out that he was told that Paul George was on. He was like, "Oh, let me get on too."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was very funny.
Teams used to tamper back in the day, and then, or not even back in the day, 5 years ago. Then the Sixers got caught a couple years ago, got fined a couple picks. Someone else got fined too.
Every major league used to. That's why you always have all kind of great moves. But now they just take the fun out of everything.
This sucked. The first hour, the biggest move was Luke Cornett getting extended with the Celtics. Who the hell cares about Luke Cornett? Yeah, so that was very disappointing. But what was the other bone I had to pick? I had another bone to pick with the NBA. I don't remember what it was. The new CBA kind of ended up working out in the Sixers' favor. So I'm not mad about the new CBA. Because to think about it, if it wasn't for the new CBA, Paul George would probably still be a Clipper.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And who knows what we'd be doing.
We'd be sitting with our thumbs up our ass.
Yeah. So that's that.
Clay's in Dallas. CP3 went to the Spurs. I mean, nothing else was really that groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Boston secured their young guys. Okay, we do that. They'd all get supermax contracts, but nothing else really. Even KCP, going to where to go, Orlando.
Yeah.
It's all right, well, okay. Nothing really else was earth-shattering.
Yeah. You know what was? Toby time, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This
had me cracking up. I got to play this real quick. This was Zach Lowe on the Lowe Post on yesterday. He was recording it live Monday morning. Yeah, it was Monday. And Toby time happened while he was recording.
We have more breaking news.
We do.
Tobias Harris, 2 years, $52 million to the Pistons. You know what, Bobby? No, we're not talking about that. Just why? Here's my full analysis of that deal. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I hope the second year's a team option. That's why.
He can shoot at least. No one else on the team can shoot. He can shoot. Why? Okay, back to Paul George. Yeah.
That's how the Sixers felt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just so
Yeah,
funny,
we're
man.
finally officially rid
I
of
know.
Tobias Harris. There is now zero chance that we will see him again.
Yeah, we'll see him when he plays for the Pistons.
Yeah.
He's going to get booed mercilessly.
Oh, I hope
Thank
so.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely. Just a
I will not
I have no
miss
words,
him.
yeah.
His 0-point scoring ass in Game 6. How do you score 0 points in an elimination game as the second highest paid player on the team?
How many times did we see in that series too, where he would go for a layup, miss it, get the rebound, go for a layup, miss it again?
Dude.
3 times, and then he would pass it out to nobody. It would just
You remember Game 6 against the Celtics last year, how many layups he smoked?
terrible.
Ugh, good riddance. So this is funny, though. What I will say is I looked up his stats versus Paul George's to last year. They're closer than you think. This was scary, actually. So Paul George played 74 games. He averaged 22.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals. There's more to his line, but I'll get to Toby, then I'll get back to Paul George. So then Toby, 70 games, 17.2 points, but 6.5 rebounds, which I don't ever remember seeing him grab that many rebounds in a game. 3.1 assists. Again, I don't remember him having that many assists. 1 steal. So up to that point, their stats are kind of similar other than the points per game, but pretty big difference. Then we get into field goal percentage. Toby was 48%. Paul George was only 47%.
I mean,
But-
you're talking.
Then here's where things change. So Paul George shot 41% from 3 on 8 points or 8 attempts per game. Guess what Toby shot from 3?
20%.
Like 31.
35. Better than I thought, but not as good as Paul George. Guess how many threes he took per game?
4.
Like, yeah, I would say 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3.7. So Paul George
that's 4. We round
shot
up.
better on double the attempts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the
why you
difference.
get him then. Yeah.
Yeah, Toby's stats also, like, we have to acknowledge, and we know this, Toby's stats are empty calories.
Right.
Like, he might put up 18 points against a bad team.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
go
Right.
30 points against, like you said, go 30 points against, the fucking Hornets. You're like, all right, well, that didn't do us anything good right
Yeah,
there.
we're going to win that game anyway. Where are you when we need you against the
Meaningful
Celtics,
games.
against the Knicks?
You're playing
against the
Boston,
Bucks.
you're down by 1 point, you're good to go, and he shits wide open looks.
A 0-point game, 0 points in an elimination game as a max player.
Also, close
Yeah, it's
stats.
pretty
I don't remember seeing a
unforgivable.
lot of videos too of Paul George last year of like just bricking easy buckets. Where Tobias, there's almost every game he has a play where you're like, what?
Yo, he would have some of
What?
the worst misses I've ever seen, dude. Good riddance, Toby.
Yeah.
Don't let the Lord hit you where the good door split.
We'll
Don't let the
God's like,
oh man, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. See,
Yeah.
I'm so worked up I can't even
I
talk.
know. You had the Lord tapping his ass real quick. He said, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll see you in hell.
Yo, I will miss DeAnthony Mountain though. He got paid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he signed.
I didn't
with,
think he's going to get that much. 1 year, $12 million with the Warriors.
Yeah.
And
Well, they did-
Batum,
I know.
my
back to the
boy,
Clippers,
that's a
yeah.
shame, dude. Told the wife guy. His
Wife
wife
guy,
was like,
yeah.
"Yeah, we got to go back to the West Coast. I can't do the East Coast.
That's
it's too
all
cold
right.
over here."
I wish we could have kept him. I liked him. Boom, boom, Batum.
Yeah, we'll always have the Miami game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kid freaking out.
Yeah. Who's this guy, Batum?
Damn.
And then Mo Bamba, he also went to the Clippers. The Clippers are just
Oh,
taking all
really?
their players.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm not going to miss him.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm. So yeah, I think all around right now, I think they did probably a B+ grade so far to start off.
Yeah, I'd probably give it an A- until we see what they do with these open slots that they have on the roster. They're probably going to trade B-Ball Paul
Yeah.
or just cut him. It's a shame, but he's expendable.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said, he didn't show up in the playoffs. Wasn't a good fit against the Knicks, and the Knicks are going to be around for the next 5 years.
And not even the
at least.
playoffs. He had plenty of opportunity with Embiid being out for a while to be to show something.
No, he had some good games.
I'm not
But
saying he
in
didn't
the
have good
playoffs,
games,
he
but he didn't really make a name for himself that you were hoping for. That's all.
I mean, he did put up 30 and 15 against Jokic. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he had his moments, but overall, it's just
Inconsistent.
not the not the player you need for where the Sixers are. If they were a younger team,
right,
a rebuilding team, yeah, you would love a B-ball Paul. But when you're contending, you need a backup center with a little more of a track record, like a Drummond.
Definitely.
And then you need one like an Adem Bona that you can kind of shape and mold, and that can give you some energy in a pinch.
Big time.
Yo, Ben Simmons coming? Psych.
Yeah, might as well. No, okay.
I guess that's probably it. We'll have more Sixers to talk about. Summer League's coming up. The Olympics are coming up. So yeah, we can move off the Sixers.
Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the Flyers. Have their draft. Little bit of a strange draft. They end up moving back to 13.
I like the move back in theory anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, they select Jett Luchanko, which is an awesome name.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also funny because his main attribute is that he's a very, very fast skater.
Yeah.
So Jett makes sense. So I like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess the big, the big conundrum with fans is that they had an opportunity to draft Zeev Buyum, the defenseman, who was, I think probably higher on just about everyone's boards. I think the consensus with Luchanko is people had him anywhere from I think some teams probably had him somewhere around 15, 16. He was kind of a late riser. So you figured it would have been nice if maybe they could have traded back one more spot or something, but then at that point it becomes kind of risky that they weren't going to get him. Yeah, they get a guy who very young for the draft too. So I think that was a factor.
He's 18.
He's 17.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
So I think if he was a few weeks younger, he would have been eligible for next year's.
Damn.
And I guess the thing was if he was going in next year's draft, he might be a top 10 pick. So I guess that's why they felt good about taking him. But it just sounds like the Flyers scouts were really high on him. And, sometimes you hear these criticisms of they're making the mistake of thinking they're the smartest ones in the room and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's if you're not going to trust your scouts, then what's the point?
People say that shit when they're afraid of your team, though. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you're too smart? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I think it's also a matter of the board didn't fall the way that they wanted it to.
Yeah, I mean,
Yakimchuk was gone.
Right. They
Berkeley
were trying.
Catton was gone.
I think after a few picks, I was kind of hoping that Berkeley Catton was going to keep slipping, and then I think he'd get 8 to the Kraken.
Yeah. Yakimchuk. What did he go?
7. He went
7.
really high.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a reach by the Senators, but
yeah, they went for name recognition.
Yeah,
or not recognition, but yeah, it's a hockey name. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So how do you feel then? Scale 1 to 10.
Trevor can go first.
I mean, it's hard to gauge. because we're really not going to know until a couple. he's probably
Your
at
gut
least.
reaction. They announced the pick on the TV. You're like,
Well, the gut reaction was what the fuck?
Yeah.
I barely even I think I've heard this guy's name maybe once or twice when I was looking up draft stuff, not thinking that he was in our range. I think he was probably projected to go around closer to 20. But if I'm looking at this through my Flyers colored glasses, there's a lot of upside there. He was I think he was involved in over 30% of his team's points, which was also funny. He plays for the Guelph Storm in the OHL or whatever, which I had never even heard of before.
I've heard of them, yeah.
I feel like I've never I'm a fucking sicko that watches the NHL draft every year, and I can't remember a time where I've been watching and they've announced from the Guelph Storm.
I've heard of them before.
Maybe once or twice, but I was just what the fuck? This kid play for a beer league team or something?
he plays in Northeast Philly.
But
what the hell?
but all to say, they're not a very good team. So you figure maybe if he was playing on a stronger team with some better line mates, he might be putting up a lot more points. He, like I said, he's very fast. And I guess one of the, things about him that people were saying is not only is he a fast skater, but he can control the puck with speed, which is good. A lot of times, these guys can turn on the jets and get up the rink or whatever, up ice, but without really a good control over the puck. I know the development camp started today, and I guess Oliver Bonk did an interview, and he's played against him, and he was saying that like the one thing like that like him and his teammates always knew thought about him is that he's just like a machine at like controlled entries on the power play.
I heard my man loves a dangle.
Yeah, like he can just like speed in and just like get an entry with ease.
Or when you're that fast.
Yeah, if you're like that fast and can like have control over the puck at the same time, I think you can be dangerous. Still, he's still got a long way to go. He's got to like bulk up. He's pretty small. But yeah, I mean the thing is like he's only like 17 years old.
Right, so a pup.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm feeling all right about it. I feel like if they had drafted Bullion, I probably would have just been feeling really good because he's a guy that has like 1D upside. But I guess the way they explained it, it sounded like they kind of had both of them kind of in the same tier, and they figured like, Ty goes to the center of the organizational need. So it's like, I get it. Remains to be seen how it'll all turn out. But, they get a guy who could potentially be, a top line center. So
I think that's generous. I'm kind of underwhelmed, to be frank.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I feel as though Michkov's coming over. Yeah, now's the time where you start to get guys that are NHL ready or closer NHL ready, where you can put a product on the ice that'll win in maybe a year or two. Whereas Luchanko feels like it's more of a projection, which I get it. The center prospects that you really liked were gone, and you feel as though center is your biggest need in the organization.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's face it, 1D is also pretty big need, which is why I was all about Yakimchuk. So I felt like he could be your 1D of the future. And maybe you have that in Drysdale or York. Drysdale, the jury's still very much out. He's got to stay healthy. York's got to continue to develop. Whereas I feel as though with Luchanko, I think once he's seasoned in like 3 years, yeah, him and Michkov should work really well together. You have the speedy center. You have the aggressive forward, the dazzling forward. They should play really well together, but you have to hope that he pans out. I mean, how many times do we see... I feel like the NHL and MLB, you see this more than the NFL or the NBA, but you see a high draft pick, a lottery pick just flame out.
Mm-hmm.
It happens very much in the NHL, happens very much in MLB. I mean, we don't have to look that far in the NHL. The Flyers drafted Nolan Patrick, number 2 overall, the center of the future. My man sucked, and then he got injured, and then he had concussions, migraines, and he's out of the league, right? So... I don't know. I don't think that they were going to get a better center prospect once the board fell the way that they did, but at that point I would have just taken Bouillon. But with that said, I mean, this is all about a rebuild. It isn't about you're trying to make the playoffs next season. So I think I kind of just have to lower my expectations and realize, as much as I want this team to be competitive, as much fun as it was this season that they were in the playoff race till the last game of the season, that's probably not going to happen this year, and that's okay. They're going to have their growing pains. They're going to have to develop a little bit. And long term, if Luchanko pans out, him, Michkov, and let's just say Konechny in a few years is going to be a pretty good what am I trying to say? Forward tandem.
Yeah.
Top 3, however I want to say it.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is based on how they attacked this draft and the fact that they moved that other first-round pick, that 32nd overall pick that they had, they obviously feel a lot stronger about next year's draft.
That's been the thing for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the consensus next year's draft is a lot better. So I feel like this year, it seemed like they felt like it made more sense to take guys who were maybe a little more high-risk, high-reward, that have like some upside, as opposed to... taking someone, not necessarily that Bouillon is this, but taking like players that are, quote, like safer picks, but that probably don't project to be, that have like maybe higher floor, lower ceiling type players. Because I think they feel like next year they can really grab some good players. I mean, they might have 3 first-round picks next year.
Yeah.
Which gives you wiggle room to move up.
Yeah. They have a shitload of picks next year and a strong draft. So like, I mean, I think I'm kind of the, on the same, side with you, that if it were me, I probably would have just snagged Bouillon and called it a day. But, the more I read about Luchanko, I can kind of see what they're seeing in him. And, can kind of buy into the upside, and we'll just have to wait and see just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hope he hits it. Yeah, the other thing you mentioned this too is you have to hope he bulks up. So, yeah, he's 17. He in theory, he should bulk up when you're 17. I was a string bean when I was 17.
You still got growing to do.
But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is right now they're kind of a smallish team, right? They don't have any...
Yeah.
Well, they drafted some big dudes later in the draft, but who's to say they pan out at all, right? Like, their big dudes are Delorier, who's probably not going to be around in a few years, right? Who else? Garnet Hathaway, he's kind of bigger. They don't really have... Not saying you need like, hockey isn't about a bunch of big burly dudes anymore, but you need a couple of those types of guys.
Yeah.
They have Ristolainen, but he's probably not going to be here in a couple of years, right?
I mean, if
most of these big dudes, most of the big dudes they have are going to be gone. So I would have wanted them. That's another reason why I like Yakimchuk, but I would prefer for them to have a little more beef.
Yeah. And I guess that was one of the drawbacks with Bouillon is that he's not a big dude.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, he could be like a top pairing defenseman, but
they already have too small.
Yeah, and that's kind of was their reasoning. They already have guys like York and Drysdale, and So, kind of a, not an exciting draft, I would say. Maybe a little underwhelming, but
building towards
see
the
how it
future,
goes.
like we said, it's a process. We just have to trust it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else can we say about the Flyers? They the other big news is they inked Michkov to his entry-level contract.
Yeah.
That's huge. The other reason why we were drinking Johnny Walker Blue.
Big time.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
you again. So good.
That was
smooth.
incredible.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, so Michkov is officially a Flyer.
Finally pen to paper. Yeah. Very happy. Nice little statement he put out. So that was all good to hear.
Yeah, like
very
excited. On his like Instagram, he posted like some picture and then it said "Let's go Flayers," like FLAY. And eventually,
he's still learning English yet.
Yeah, but like a few minutes later, he like deleted it and corrected it. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's still learning English.
Dang, but exciting stuff.
What was this article I was reading? This is the article I was reading on PHLY that said, he's going to have to come over and have like a tutor. And then Danny Briere, apparently, I didn't know this. Danny Briere didn't really know English when he first came to the NHL. He had to have a tutor too.
Yeah, he's French-Canadian.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Frenchy. If you're from Quebec, you don't really speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still kind of...
They're similar, more similar languages than Russian to English.
Yeah. But luckily, I mean, the Flyers already have a couple Russian... I mean, Fedotov's there.
Yeah, what do you call it?
Just go spend the weekend in the Northeast. Don't fucking learn English up there with the Russians up there. All right?
Go get
go to the Russian spa, hang out for a little bit,
Oh yeah, what's that? Isn't there a nice one in Ben Salem?
Yeah, the Russian spa.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to go up there.
Where
did y'all go for Hannah's birthday that one year?
That was right near the Russian spa.
He needs to go there too.
Oh man, that was a great time.
Eat some borscht, get buck with the boys.
The food was weird, but it's BYO, which is kind of fun.
Is Mishkov 21? He's not, right? Is he old enough to drink in the United States?
I don't think he's 21.
I'm actually not
he
sure.
Can't go drinking then. He can't go where y'all went.
Yeah, it's BYO. They don't trust me. He can definitely drink in there. Yeah. You it was weird because you go into that.
They let him know who he is.
You can go up there to party, but there's like multiple weddings happening at the same time as well. So you're just
this sounds like chaos.
You're just like partying with these wedding parties. It's hard to explain. It was a trip. There definitely was there definitely was some like business deal going on in the back corner where we were at. Like all these Russian dudes and all these Chinese guys were like hanging out, drinking mad vodka, just cheersing every time, like in full suits, suitcases and shit. I'm like, what the? Where
this sounds
am I?
Fun.
They had like a weird cover band, but they only sang in Russian, so they'd be singing like Lady Gaga stuff, but it'd be like. Splata ba ba ba. It was fucking. That shit was great. Yeah, it was fun.
Yo, when you turn 30 this year?
So, you got 2 years.
Oh, damn, you're young yet. I was going to say. We got to go there for your 30th birthday.
We'll go back there for my 30th.
All right, well, that'll be in a couple of years yet. We'll bring Mishkov, too.
Yeah, he'll be 21 by then. That'll work out great.
Yeah.
But nah, man, I'm excited now that we know it's official. He's coming over. He's not at the mini camp that just started, but he should be over in September.
Yeah, during like regular camp, he'll be here.
I mean, I didn't consider this article I read was like, he has to learn English. He's going to have to find housing. I mean, I realize these are things one has to worry about when they move abroad like that, but
I'm
so excited for him to come over. I just kind of just threw all that out the window. I'm like, yeah. He's ready.
He's moving his whole life.
Yeah.
We don't want him to be like Kolosov, getting all homesick and depressed. Although he won't be living in the Lehigh Valley. He'll be living in the city. He'll be chilling. Mitch Cobb
He'll probably be living in Jersey, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's living in Old City with the boys.
Yeah, maybe.
A bunch of them live up there, right?
Do they?
I think... Who lives? I think Farabee lives up there. Charlie O'Connor wrote a whole piece about it. It was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
I think Farabee lives up there, and he's got some of the other boys like that stay in his house from time to time.
Nice.
So maybe Mitch Cobb stays with him.
He could bunk it with someone for a little bit. I mean, if he's still a baby too, he might not know how to navigate all that by himself.
Yeah, he's gonna need some of the boys.
Yeah, back in the day, a lot of guys lived in like Haddonfield, like Briere lived there.
Well, that's where you go once you're 30 and you have kids. I think Coots lives there now.
Or once you get money.
That's when you're old, dude.
Yeah, and have
when
money.
you're in your 20s and you're young, you want to get buck in the city.
Also, his contract ain't that big. Yeah, I don't know if he can afford it up there.
Well, I remember when like Couturier used to live with Briere.
Yeah,
in Haddonfield.
Yeah. But you remember when Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, they used to live in Old City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So who knows, man? I think he's gonna live in Old City for a few years. We might see him at Rotten Rouse. We might catch him at a show at the Khyber. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
yeah.
We'll be having a good time.
Flout and the Stars. Yeah, I'll be hanging out around there.
Oh yeah.
Yo, I want to do a citywide at Dirty Frank's with Mitch Cobb.
He's the guy that's ordering a bunch of Stoli. You're like, wait a second. Nice. Yeah, man. Good to have him back in Philly.
Yeah, he'll be over in September. What else we got? The Flyers they didn't make any big free agent acquisitions.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of.
Yeah, they don't have the cap.
They're kind of handcuffed with like the cap, and they brought back Eric Johnson to be the pretty much do the Mark Stahl role from last year.
Yeah, I've seen people getting mad about that on the internet.
People are getting mad about everything. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like, they're still rebuilding. They're not gonna be able to do a whole lot here. But I don't know. I don't really think that much of that. He's just exactly like I said. He's just gonna be like what Mark Stahl did last year, probably not play most of the time and just be sort of a mentor to the younger guys on the blue line, which is, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, I just saw some people that were like, oh, this is taking up a roster spot that one of these, young guys could have taken up. And it's like, not really. Like, it's the only thing it's blocking is a spot in the fucking press box.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want a young guys doing that. You want them to get consistent playing time in the AHL. So, yeah, I don't really have any problem with that. And then they brought back, they signed, this was a little strange. They signed Hathaway to a 2-year extension.
Yeah, when he wasn't up yet.
Yeah, like he still had a whole year left, which I get he's a good player. They like him a lot. He's a really good fourth liner. I don't know what the need was to lock him up for an additional 2 years right now. But, I mean, it's not for a lot of money, and, it's fine, I guess.
I guess it's a culture setter. You don't want him to go into this season being a lame duck.
Yeah.
Thinking he might get traded at the deadline.
And all that, yeah.
He can go into this season feeling safe and secure.
Yeah.
And he's also bounced around a bunch, so you have to figure mentally for him, what does this do for him?
Insecure, yeah.
Makes him feel better, makes him feel like he found a home. He'll continue to play well. I probably wouldn't have done it, but I guess I can get why they did it. The Eric Johnson thing, man, this was funny. I was listening to the PHOI Flyers show, and Kelly was like, yeah, he'll just be a defense daddy.
Yeah.
That's essentially what he's going to be, man. He's just
the
the old geezer on the defense that teaches the young guys. Dude.
Yeah.
You kind of need that sometimes. I've said this before about the Sixers process, and one of the reasons why I think it failed at first is because you had a bunch of young bucks like Jahlil Okafor speeding across the bridge, getting into like fights in Boston, having a gun pulled on him in Old City because he didn't have a defense daddy, dude.
Yeah, he needs some geezers.
Every rebuilding team needs a defense daddy. So yeah, I'm not mad at it. I mean, it's what, the vet minimum? Like 1 year, $1 million bucks, a little over the minimum. Yeah, like it's fine. I think people are like me where they're anxious for this team to just take off. Yeah,
Patience
in a
is
sense,
key.
yeah, you want that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
But you have to make shrewd moves sometimes, especially when you're up against the cap like this. You don't have room to make that move that's going to help you.
I think there's a lot of people that just got into the mindset of, well, because originally we thought, like, we were going to have to wait 2-3 years for Mishkov to come over. And the thought process was like, we have a couple years here, and then when Mishkov's over, that's the time to put our foot in the gas and really go for it. And now that he's here earlier than we expected,
the
people are like, fuck, we got to go for it now. Like, we got to start signing guys. We got to trade for guys.
Which is my mindset with the draft. But free agency, you don't have room to make those deals anyway.
And it's just like, no, like, we just got him earlier than we expected, but we're still, like, in this thing. And I mean, like, these are the same. I feel like a lot of these fans that are mad are the same people that have been complaining for 10 years that we haven't, like, blown everything up and rebuild. Right. And now that we're actually committed to it, it's like, no, we got to do
it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, pick a lane, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't have any problem with what they're doing right now. You know, I would not be upset if they just get another lottery pick next year, which is kind of what I would predict is going to happen. I think they'll be like decent.
Dude, I think they're going to be pretty good again.
Yeah, well, you know, they're going to be. You know, they lost Sean Walker, who signed with the Hurricanes. But they're obviously getting Mishkov, so they should be a little better up front.
They trimmed some dead weight, too. Like,
I think the real wild card is you really don't know what you're going to get out of the goaltenders.
Yeah,
right.
That's
like
it.
Sam Urson with a full year.
I think Urson's going to be good. It's just what you get from your backup.
Yeah.
Your backups,
I mean, who knows?
Kolosov and Fedotov.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? They could be really good. They might not be.
I think they're going to hang on the fringes of the playoffs again. There's still some bad teams, dude.
There are.
You mean to tell me the Senators are going to be good?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me the Sabres are going to be good? You mean to tell me Columbus is going to be good? Absolutely not.
A lot of teams got better, though. I mean,
the Devils they should be better just by default.
Yeah, just because they got really unlucky last year. And they also have
but Pittsburgh, I think
good moves.
Pittsburgh, that window's closing more and more every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Washington, that window's steadily closing. I don't know, man. I don't think they make the playoffs, so I think they're going to hang around in the race for a while again.
Yeah. The Blue Jackets did. They got Demidov, so they could be.
They could be better. I don't think they're going to be good.
I think they'll be better, but
they ain't going to be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my if I had to predict as of now, I would say that the Flyers are going to be a lottery team again, but we'll see.
I think they're going to hang around again. I don't think
they're a scrappy enough team.
They make the playoffs, but I think I don't think they go to the last day of the year. The last game of the year this year. But I think they probably hang around until late March, early April.
Yeah. I mean, nothing else. It'll be fun to watch because we'll get to watch Mishkov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's going to be like watching the Sixers that first Embiid year when he played 30 games.
Exactly.
Where they don't win a lot, but you get to see something cool every day.
You can see the horizon. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, all right, this is promising. Yeah.
Yeah, because that Embiid season, 2016, 2017, that was so much fun, man.
Yeah.
Even though they won like 30 games that year and he got hurt in January. But those like 20, 30 games that he played, it was so much fun.
You could see what was building.
Yeah. But also, I got a couple other Flyers notes here. Cam Atkinson, they waive him. He goes to the Lightning.
Well, didn't they buy him out?
Oh, yeah, they bought him out.
They bought him out and then he signed with the Lightning for a 1-year deal.
Yeah, he's got a chance to go win a ring, although their window's kind of starting to close, too.
Yeah.
Stamkos went to where? Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big loss for them.
Scooped him up.
And then, why do I have this? Oh, fuck Carter Hart. Yeah, they didn't extend that offer to him.
Yeah.
Good riddance, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as I had said Toby can let the door hit him on his way out, Carter Hart can let 5,000 doors hit him on the way out.
He can let fucking Septibus hit him on the way out.
Yeah, seriously, and run over him 10 times, too.
R.I.P. Bozo. Yeah.
Yeah, you get no love from us anymore, man.
Shit.
Whatever. All right, I think that's it on the Flyers. I just had to get that Carter Hart thought out there. They didn't extend the qualifying offer. That's why I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it with the Flyers. I got the Phillies next.
Yeah.
We got
Dude, what's going on with that game?
They were up 6-1.
They were winning. Yeah,
6-1 last I checked. Yeah.
With Mercado.
He's going to get his first big league win.
He went further than I thought, but yeah. I don't know if that earned run is on his name at all.
Yeah, they're up 6-1. How many innings he pitched? He pitched 5 innings. He pitched long enough to get his first win. Good for him, dude. Trey had a couple dingers.
Oh, yeah,
Trey had another one? Nice.
Yeah, Trey, maybe he heard us saying he doesn't deserve to be an all-star.
Yeah. Well, guns out for Mikado, baby.
Yeah, Michael Mercado, our boy, dude.
I did not even really. I haven't been, I guess, following the Phillies as closely the past week just because of the injuries and shit. And I didn't really know who this guy was, to be honest.
He pitched an inning in Detroit, his major league debut. They called him up from the minors. He was actually pretty good in the minors. They got him from the Rays, out of the Rays system.
I think we got him because of cap space troubles. They couldn't.
Yeah, the Rays couldn't afford him. Or it was something weird. Or they could afford him.
Well, not cap space.
The Rays are just
being
cheap.
Yeah,
they could afford them if they wanted to.
Yeah,
They're
poverty
just cheap.
franchise. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
if the Rays can't sign one of their stars to like a 8-year just league minimum contract, then they're not going to stay there.
I think it was $400,000 or
But to them, that's a decent chunk of change, dude.
But for the Phillies, they're like, we'll take that.
But
man.
it's wild, right? Like, not to become a Tampa Bay Rays podcast, but it's wild because, dude, think about all the good players that have come through the Tampa Bay Rays over the last 25 years.
Yeah, imagine if they weren't cheap as fuck.
Yeah,
they would have won several World Series by now because they're really good at finding these diamonds in the rough, developing them.
Chris Sanchez came out of the Rays system.
Yeah, Chris. We got two: Chris Sanchez, Mercado. I'm thinking Evan Longoria never won a ring with them. Scott Kazmir, Blake Snell, David Price.
Right.
They have all these guys, right? That they just
they don't build around.
They develop,
with,
but they fail to extend or sign. I mean, I get it. Like, Tampa isn't a baseball town, but you think you could make it one if you put a good product out.
It would be like it would be like if baseball were kind of ran like world soccer, where you have like different leagues with like relegation and stuff, and like they were just in kind of like not like the minors of some team, but if they were just in a lower league, if they were just like in like the equivalent of like the English Championship or whatever, they would be like the best team in that league, because they'd be like very good at finding these little like diamonds in the rough and stuff, but they can never actually afford to pay them, and they
never
all move
quite
on
get over the hump, and then all the good players just go above and get out of there. Yeah.
At least they're like slightly less shameful than the A's.
Oh yeah,
they're just like owners are the biggest scumbags in the world, but I mean that's a whole other thing.
But 6-1, man. Phillies got the job done. I mean, the Cubs are pretty ass right now, but
they're horrible.
With a terrible lineup, honestly, it's not like we went in there and beat them with our starters. We beat them with the fucking, rinky dink, whatever we got.
Yeah, I mean, we got Garrett Stubbs, who's hitting 297 since JT went down.
But you got Cody Clement out there. You got Stubbs.
I mean, Cody Clemens is slugging 500.
I'm just saying it's not Harper
it's
and
not,
JT.
It's not
you got
Schwarber, Harper,
the fact
and
that our
Realmuto.
backups are now 3+.
But I'm saying our
300.
backups are probably doing better than we're giving them credit for.
Definitely, but I think they do better now. Just keep talking a little shit to them. They'll make it feel too happy. That's all I'm saying.
Keep doing what's working.
Hey,
keep talking that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies need to go 2-3 in this to win 2 out of 3 in this series. They already won 1 because I think the Braves are going to sweep them.
The Phils?
Yeah, I think so, man.
They could.
The Braves are pissed. They know they need to make up some ground, and we're banged up.
Are we in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This team's like a little scrappy little. You never know what you're gonna get.
The Braves are admittedly pretty banged up too, but I'm not feeling good about that series. We need to win. If we could sweep the Cubs as bad as they are, that'd be great.
We probably could. I don't know who's on the mound the rest of the...
I mean, this was our worst pitcher of the whole series.
And he didn't do that bad.
Yeah, and he only gave up a run.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think after this, we got the All-Star break. Give us some time to lick our wounds. I think Harper's going to come back to play in the All-Star game.
Definitely.
I mean, the All-Star game's probably going to be his first game back, but I think he's never... This is wild. He's been with the Phillies since 2019. He's been named an All-Star twice. He's never played in an All-Star game as a Philly. Because the 1 year he broke his finger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this year. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, he might
get in there. The year he won MVP, he didn't even make the All-Star team.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a flaw with
which is a funny
how they pick the All-Stars.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah, so Harper's never... And then in 2020, I think he was good, but there wasn't an All-Star game.
I can see him playing that. It's also not like a real game, but it'd be good to knock the rust off before you get back into regular play.
I think he wants to be out there with his bros, right? So...
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not coming back before that. So he's going to have to sit out for that Braves series. Schwarber can't come back before that Braves series. Which I guess...
Which is fine, to be honest. I think we miss Harper more than we miss Schwarber.
We miss them both a lot, though.
Only because of the DH aspect of it. Obviously, his bat's great, but I think Harper is more all-around impact.
Dude, Schwarber was getting on base His on base percentage is like 380.
Yeah,
He's
I just meant
leading
all
off
around
with
impact, but he
power.
only gives you bat. Like, my only thing is that, not that Cody's been doing bad, but it just puts the rest of the team in a bad position when you don't have your starting first baseman out there.
Yeah, I mean, also, neither or. Like, we could sit here and debate all day.
Right.
It's bad to be missing them both. The good
Definitely.
news is it seems like both of them are going to be back soon.
Yeah.
Like, Harper was running today. Schwarber was running today. Realmuto started hitting.
Yeah, he was hitting, yeah.
So, I mean, all three of those guys should be back. If not...
Marsh is looking better. Turner's getting a little bit more speed back, but
yeah,
not
I mean,
fully
Turner,
back. But
Turner had a couple dingers today, right? So, yeah, they'll be okay. This Braves series, I would think, is going to be pretty ugly, but
it'll
that's
be
why
tough,
you build an
but
8-game
that's
lead.
honestly
You can afford to slip up.
that's how with the Marlins, too. Like, we don't, interdivisional wise, teams just get a little bit more up against that shit. The Mets, they're going to be difficult playing them again. The Braves are going to be pissed as shit.
Yeah, we haven't played the Mets since the Grimace thing.
Right. And they've been on a what?
Grimace got murdered, I heard today.
Wait, what?
Grimace got murdered in Queens. I saw
What are
this
you
on...
talking about?
What, he
What
hit
does
by a
that
ball?
mean?
I saw a meme. I didn't really look into it. Keep talking about
I think
it.
they've won, 9 out of 10
No,
games?
for the people that don't know what we're
Murder.
talking about, a while back, what was it? Grimace, the McDonald's mascot,
He's like the
threw out a
purple
first
man.
pitch.
Yeah.
And ever since
Oh,
then,
it's a TikTok trend.
Oh,
okay.
damn.
It's
Maybe
like,
I
go
got
on.
But
Keep
yeah,
going,
but
keep
ever
going.
since then, the Mets have played a lot better and been winning a majority of their games. And
They smoked the Yankees.
people are coming to Mets games dressed as Grimace. It's Grimace Mania at Citi Field, which I have to admit, like, it's kind of funny.
I mean,
like if that was like a thing here, I would think it was very funny. And
we love a good mascot bit. So
Yeah.
obviously it's like
Oh no, this isn't it.
we're torn because the Mets now have gone on a tear right now, looking pretty decent. But and it was Bobby, what's it called day the other day?
oh, Bobby
Bonilla.
Bonilla,
yeah,
dude, yeah,
still
that's
getting
gonna be
$1.9 million for the next, I think, still 8 years still coming up.
until 2035.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another 9
Until
years.
2035.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's got
dude.
it
I saw
made,
the Nola, Harper, and Turner contracts will all be over before Bobby Bonilla's contract
The
is
Harper.
over.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
wow, that's insane. That's
yeah,
wild.
it's wild.
Dude.
Yeah, that's so funny.
What do you think he's doing right now?
I think Ken Griffey Jr. is still
Fucking
getting money
chilling.
from the Reds too.
Oh, I didn't know he was
Such
another one.
Such
Yeah.
a smart deal to do. Then you got your retirement locked up. You're good
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, you're getting residual income till you're like 80 years
Yeah.
I
old.
mean, at some point, Shohei Ohtani is going to be getting
Yeah.
all those deferral.
Oh
yeah.
my god, when he gets that
The
big ass
Nationals
fucking-
would always do that with teams too. When they were good, they would defer money for 10, 20 years. They probably... Strasburg might be one of them, probably.
Yeah,
Could be.
that'd be funny.
But yeah, the Mets are doing well. But yeah, the Phillies, they're doing well with a pretty banged up
Yeah.
lineup.
About as
And,
good as you could expect
Yeah.
with the injuries they have right now.
yeah, they squeeze out some wins. They're playing some tough games. Bullpen's looking decent, but yeah, it's like I said, Trey Turner has some time to shine a little bit. Cassie's looking great. I mean, the team Marsh is looking pretty healthy.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
Yeah, they did so well to start the season off that we're in the best position possible to have these injuries now.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Yeah,
got the wiggle
build
room.
You build an 8-game
you know,
cushion for the
You got the wiggle room. You got the All-Star game coming up. So that's like a whole week off. So honestly, it's better to get it out now. Get everybody rested up, healed up. You didn't really fall. You're still the best winning percentage team in the MLB. So you really didn't skip a beat at all.
Yeah.
You might miss a few All-Stars here and there, but other than that, you really can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Yo, real quick, because we had to listen to his dumb ass today. Who was out of these analysts for the Phillies? We're talking Ruben.
Oh boy.
We're talking Ricky Bo. We're talking, who else I got written? Barcan.
Eskins on there.
Nah. Oh, we got to talk about him too.
We'll
though.
talk about him in a minute, yeah.
We got Ricky Bo, Barcan, Ruben, Ben Davis, and Schmidt. Who was your least favorite? That's tough, right? They're all so insufferable. I know mine. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I'm going to say Barcan. Here's the deal, right? As much as Ruben annoys me because he never shuts up, he at least played the game.
Right.
So he knows something about something. He was a GM. Granted, a terrible GM, but a GM. So he's been around the game.
He was okay.
He was a base coach for a while. He's been around the current game
Yeah.
more recently. And you could say the same thing about Ricky Bell and Ben Davis, right? Like, granted, they were around the game 20 years ago, but they were around the game in some capacity. They still kind of know what's what. Mike Schmidt, he was around the game. He retired the year I was born.
Yeah.
So he was around the game 35 years ago, right? But, I mean, he's the best third baseman ever. Is he annoying? Yes. Does it bother me when he, like, refuses to say Latin American players' names the right way? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's an old white guy. I mean, I shouldn't expect anything else. But Barkan, man, this guy has made a whole career on NBC Sports Philadelphia just being a loudmouth that doesn't really offer any real analysis, that just screams the same way I am right now about nonsense, doesn't really make any sense. He's on Eagles postgame live, talking about we need to run the damn ball when we lose by 40 points. You don't run the ball when you're down 40 points. He's on Phillies postgame live, screaming about Bryce Harper when Bryce Harper isn't the problem. It's like, dude, you need to get a grip. You don't know anything about the game. The only reason why you're still on TV is because you have tenure, and no one cares what you have to say because it's wrong.
Damn, go off, Avery.
No, I just despise. I reached that conclusion the other day. I was watching the post-game show. He's getting so worked up about when they lost to the Marlins 3-2 that day on Saturday. It's like, dude, it isn't that serious. Get a grip.
Avery's just sitting there drinking his beer, just crushes the cane.
No, I was getting so annoyed.
I think that I don't disagree with you. I think he's like the drunk uncle that just watches sports and like there's no connection else to the sport. You know, he's just the TV personality, so to speak, for that stuff, which is annoying. I think of people that I think that are the most annoying was the question. I still think Ruben for me is number one, just insufferable to. I can't stand listening to that man when he talks about the game. I think Ben Davis is two for me because he's an asshole. The whole perfect game thing, and he laid a bunt down to get on base. I'll never get over that.
That is annoying. That's very annoying.
He does have some good takes as a player, but I think he's a
ass move, dude.
That's a dick move right there. Like ninth inning, you're gonna lay a bunt down to fucking ruin the game.
Only the biggest asshole would do that.
I think that's just I think he's a dick. So
yeah, I don't like that either.
I think he's pushing it with what's it called, Ruben. I would say, honestly, Ricky Bo's probably the better of that 5 spread you gave. I don't mind him. This year, I feel like he's
pretty annoying
I
too.
think
I don't like.
Listen, you gave us 5 people that are.
Piece.
You gave us 5 annoying people, so no one's gonna. Obviously, I would rather.
There's no winners here,
right? If there was Crook in there, I'd be like, okay, he's the best.
Well, I
one.
intentionally left him out because that'd be an easy vote for all of us.
You gave us 5 annoying people.
Yeah,
I think
intentionally left him out.
The least annoying, and I think this season he came back a little bit better. Ricky Bo isn't as bad as years past. I think he's a little bit more subdued. He's still annoying as shit, thinks he knows everything, but you know, I think Barkan's probably behind him, and then it's Ben Davis, and then I just can't stand Ruben.
That's fair, I get it.
I played against that Ivy. There's no give there, fellas.
Oh, that
Shut
was
the fuck
really
up,
annoying
dude.
today. That was
Come on,
very
man. I got concussed.
You ain't wrong. There's no wrong answers.
It's
Trevor,
just,
who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of agree with you with Barkan, but like for me, it's like he's not. I mean, he's just been like a staple with like NBC Sports forever. That like I don't really
annoying. Just
think
get rid
of him
of
as much as like a Phillies.
They laid off way better people that I liked more than him. Somehow, because he got tenure. They're like, yeah, we can't let him go.
And you know that man's hitting that whiskey door in the fucking 4th inning stretch. Every time you see him after the game, you're like, is he fucked up?
They're
right
always
now?
talking about Yingling lager up.
Yeah.
He's lagering up he's lagering up in his dressing room, dude.
Yeah.
He for sure is.
I think, I mean, Ruben's awful, but I think Ben Davis has been at it longer. So I think for me, like, I have more of a history of hating Ben Davis's commentary.
That makes sense.
All right,
so he's probably number 1 for me.
I forgot Schmidt.
And then I'd have to go.
I love Schmidt.
Then I'd probably go Ruben, and then Schmidt. I think Schmidt is pretty awful, but he does the least amount of games. So it's like you only have to suffer through him for like Sunday day games at home. That's the only games he does are Sunday.
He was
at home.
on there yesterday for I guess it was Sunday, right? Yeah.
So like, you know.
All right.
But Schmidt also like
bring back Sarge.
Schmidt's a
that's
guy.
that's what I was going to say at the end of all
Bring
this.
back Wheels.
Bring back Sarge, man.
Schmidt's a player that like should never be in the
Revive
booth. Like,
Richie Ashburn from the dead.
Yeah, Schmidt's not a guy that like you need to put a mic in front of. I feel like he probably wasn't a very talkative guy playing either. Like
No, he wasn't. He was never like a
right. Like he's not a vibes guy. He's just
Yeah.
I'm great at baseball.
He's
and
like not made for media at all.
no.
He still isn't really.
No, they just force him in there. But like, that's a thing. It's not like he want like Ruben, all the other guys you mentioned want the fucking microphone in their hand and just talk incessantly about bullshit.
One of these
Where
days,
Schmidt is like,
yeah.
I don't want to be here either, man. Like, what a great play.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, like, what do you want me to say? Like, yeah, they're doing well. I don't know.
One of these days, I would love to have Jimmy Rollins in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'd be great.
Oh, there was a season where he did radio for a little bit. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It was so great. There were times where he would be cursing too. I'll never forget one time.
Well, it was in like Michael Bourne did radio one time, and he was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh, I thought that was Jimmy Rollins.
Oh no, it was Michael Bourne.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking of.
No,
Oh, that was funny. Yeah. It was against the Mets.
I
remember
think it was
someone
Michael
had
Bourne.
a pitch go towards their head, and he was just like, "Oh shit!"
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they do
I'm
need
pretty
that.
sure that was Michael Bourne.
Whenever they have like the old players in the booth, like we're talking J-Roll, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, that takes me back. Cole Hamels
Plus,
two weeks ago. That was awesome.
Then
dude.
Crook gets all fired up, gets all
Yeah.
loose, and starts saying some weird shit
Crook
too,
is
which is great.
Yeah, I love Kruk in the booth.
Yeah, I'd love to have a beer
Honestly,
with
Tom
Crook.
McCarthy isn't bad either.
No, Tom McCarthy's
I
great.
think
I used to
he's
hate him
been-
when he first started.
No, he's like legit gotten better over the years.
Definitely.
For sure.
When he used to say that Oppo Boppo.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It's like, bro,
he
man.
he also used to get more excited for the sponsor ad shit than anything that was going on during the game. It'd be like, it's a home run. Chrysler Plymouth.
Yeah, he's definitely toned back all that. That was just like a classic, just chilling in the booth, doing his thing. Crook and him are a great duo.
Oh, they're
Once
fantastic.
you throw anybody
dude.
else in there, it just really throws a wrench in there. Unless you give him like a player. Like when Harper was hurt last year, and they put Harper in there with
Oh, that
Crook
was
and him.
cool.
That was
Or
great.
there was the one time Maxie was in the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Even when they had Brandon Graham and shit like that this year too, that was kind of
Oh,
fun.
that was hilarious,
Yeah.
dude. When Brandon Graham, he FaceTimed Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm in the booth.
Yeah. they're
But,
great, man.
I guess we should probably move off the Phillies. Or no, one more Phillies. I guess this is Phillies adjacent. This Howard Eskin beef.
Oh, yeah.
Or not beef. This
Beef,
Howard
yes.
Eskin. Howard Eskin.
Scandal.
No one's beefing.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
someone
Scandal.
is beefing. I guess there's
He's
some beef.
beefing.
Yeah.
Yeah, did
man.
any of you guys read? Because Philly Inquirer is like paywalled, so I read the article.
I can get around the payroll, but I didn't figure.
I
it
just
was
let my
worth
mind
it.
make the article.
I read the headline,
The
and then a
headline.
coworker told me a little bit more about it. It's like, okay, that's all I need to know.
I let my brain make the article. I said, you know what? He probably creeped on some. He's probably getting some Krabby Fries and a
Well,
hot
no,
dog. and
he was
started getting all weird.
apparently. I saw a post on Instagram that had more from the story. So yeah, it was apparently happened in the CP Rankin section of the
CP
ballpark.
Rankin
I don't know
That's
where
like the
that
Diamond
is.
Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it apparently happened in the Diamond Club, where it was
Like
during a
behind the
game.
plate.
Yeah, it was during a game, and he approached an Aramark employee, and like she walked away, and then he tried to kiss her,
Oh.
and that was that. And then apparently, the Phillies weren't cool with it. WIP wasn't cool with it. He's somehow allowed to stay on the radio, but he's barred from CBP for the rest of the year.
How are you going to be able to keep your job as a sports radio guy when you're banned from one of the
how-
stadiums?
So how is he going to go on the radio?
Dude, you
What's
can't
going to
be-
happen when he goes live on the radio?
You can't be boots on the ground.
Like, yeah, I don't know how they're. Yeah, now the story.
People are going to give him a hard time. People are going to give WIP shit for this.
Yeah, now that
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, now that the story's out, and now that you know that WIP's obviously known about this for months, because I mean, someone mentioned that we haven't seen him there since like May.
Yeah, happened. Yeah,
This happened
it happened in May.
months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it happened
In May.
Okay, yeah.
Right. I guess that's not months ago.
But it happened
like,
long
Well,
enough
I mean,
for it to
June.
just.
We're in July now, so it
Yeah.
happened a month. I don't know when it may have happened, but it still happened at least a month and a half ago.
2 months ago.
That
been a
guy's always
while.
been a fucking prick. I never liked Howard Eskin, to be honest with you.
No.
I can't stand that man.
I think most people our age in Philadelphia do not like him.
I can't stand
Yeah.
him. My parents don't like him. My dad saw him show
My,
up.
my dad used to like him. I don't know if he still does.
My dad saw him when he first got his
definitely
job. Showed up
listened
to
to
like
his show a lot growing
showed up
up.
to the
but-
vet in a
Mhm.
fucking like full mink coat, and my dad was like, "I hate this man," and that was it. Never
Yeah.
liked him ever again. full fur coat at the fucking vet. My dad was like, "Can't do it. I don't like this man at all." So that was it. So we just always hated Howard Eskin. And his son's kind of a fucking bitch anyway too.
Nah. I listen to his son.
Fired.
I listen to his son's podcast. Trevor, I know you've been down on Spike too, but their podcast has good takes every now and again.
Yeah, it's not.
Everybody's always got good takes.
It's entertaining, even if their basketball analysis isn't typically always the best.
Yeah, well, whatever. What are you gonna do? You just can't be trying to kiss these girls while they're just doing their job.
Yeah,
that's just like
especially
a fucking weird thing to do.
Employee, dude, like leave her alone. She's trying to serve people their drinks, their crab fries, whatever have you. Just get a grip, dude.
Creepy ass in your seat.
If you want to say something, wait till after the game.
I mean, I feel like trying to talk to somebody and aggressively pursuing a kiss mid-game is very...
Well, no, I think he got like a little ornery, a little perturbed.
Probably got a little handsy.
Yeah.
Weird.
He was probably drunk.
It's these old dudes, man.
Yeah.
Can't be trusted.
Yeah, you gotta know when to hang it up.
Him and Bill Belichick, both of them.
Oh, fuck.
Losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Ban him for life. I was once temporarily banned, but not for being a creep.
Yeah, for a good reason.
Yeah.
I'm surprised his was only temporary for this.
Well, it's a whole season. It's a long... I mean, it's a fucking long... That's playoffs, too, now.
I mean, that's true.
And you got kicked out in May, so you lost June... I mean, that's
like almost the whole season.
And you're going to miss the best part.
Yeah, he's going to miss the playoffs.
Is that what it was? He's like suspended for
the entire season.
He's banned for the whole season.
Okay, so he's not banned for life.
No,
I thought it was a lifetime ban at first, but then I read the Instagram post that had some content from the article. It said it was just for this season.
Does season count postseason as well?
I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, better.
Yeah, I guess it would have to.
You never know. I don't know how bans work out that way.
The Phillies make the playoffs like Howard's back.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I don't think so.
You got something pulled up over there. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I had one more little election update. We'd revisit our old friend RFK Jr., who there was an article that came, like a profile of him that came out on, I think it was like Vanity Fair, that, and then he was being interviewed here on Fox News.
This Vanity Fair story, I want to give you an opportunity to address it, that has a picture of you holding up what looks like a carcass of a dog and pretending to take a bite out of it. It's getting a lot of attention, so I want to ask you if you want to explain that photo. Is that a cheap fake? Is that a real photo? What was going on there?
Now, that is a real photo. It's of me at a campfire in Patagonia on the Fulefu River eating a goat, which is what we eat down there. Vanity Fair said that they talked to veterinarians who assured them that it was a dog, that they had meta-analysis that showed that it was in Korea and that it was in Korea of me eating a dog, and that statement is emblematic of the entire article, of the lack of sort of journalistic standards throughout that article.
Okay, I'm glad
it sounds like he still has a goat horn stuck in his throat.
So was it a goat or a dog?
He says
who
it's
knows?
a goat.
Yeah, apparently like some like vets looked at it and said like based on like the rib cage, it looks like a dog.
You think about it, goats and dogs, they're kind of similar, but not really.
I mean, the right size
Goats
dog.
have a longer head.
Unless you get it. I mean, you gotta. There's again, if it's a cooked, carcass, it might be a little tougher to tell. But goats could look the same.
I guess it depends on the type of dog.
Right,
and,
like you get, you're talking like a.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different breeds.
You get a dog with a little bit of a snout, a longer snout, and you shave off all the hair, and it's just bones and cooked meat. I guess it'd be tough. I wouldn't be able to tell unless it's got horns. Then you're like,
regardless. Why is he holding up the carcass, just eating it like this?
Also, he said like we do. The fuck, he ain't from wherever he was eating that
Patagonia.
shit. He said like we do down there. What do you mean we do?
Patagonia is South America. You ain't from there, dude.
Right.
Get a grip.
Right.
That's how we do down there.
Like we do.
Dude,
who the fuck is we?
I mean, if I were him, and anytime one of these little, mini scandals popped up, I would just keep blaming it all on the brainworms that he had.
Hell, you got brainworms.
The brainworms made me do it.
Yeah, that's probably where he got the worms from eating dog
dogs
all the time.
They get worms. You gotta give them that worm pill.
Yeah, they probably the worm crawled up to his head.
Yeah, the worms are like in his head, just telling him things.
How did he claim he got worms?
Eat the dog.
How they claim he got brain worms again? We talked about this.
I don't know if
I don't know if he ever said the origin story.
Oh, wasn't it from eating tuna?
Prometheus. No, that's sharks. You get shark meat. You get worms.
What was it? He got mercury or something.
Oh, well, mercury's.
Well, that's different.
I don't know.
He was probably eating something he should have been eating, and he
That's
got
a
brain
rich man's
worms.
disease. They're eating all that fresh fish and all that shit. That's all it is.
He probably got gout, dude.
Oh, big time. He
He
got
for sure
in that
has
fucking
gout.
throat.
Yeah, I think that's from like because he used to be like an addict, and I think he got like hepatitis from needles and shit, and that's why his voice is all fucked up.
Damn.
But he's a piece of shit.
Him and
though.
Hunter Biden probably should
like,
be boys.
I didn't even I know that he was like a whack job, but like he's actually a fucking horrible man.
Yeah, he's terrible.
I was reading all this shit about how like he like this shit with his ex-wife. You ever read about that shit?
No.
Like he basically like his ex-wife Mary Kennedy, like he just like cheated on her all the time, and like just like slowly like, you know, while they were still married or whatever, like cut her out of his life, and she ended up committing suicide.
Whoa.
And originally like buried her in like the Kennedy plot or whatever, and then this motherfucker afterwards, without telling anybody, has her body dug up and like moved elsewhere because he said that like he didn't realize how crowded the Kennedy plot was. Like he's
Holy
like
shit.
fucked up, dude.
That's the disrespect.
Dude, yeah,
That's a lot of money too,
like,
to get someone dug up like that.
Yeah, he's a horrible man, dude. And like, yeah, there's like family hates. Yeah,
That is a weird thing to do. That is egregious.
Him and Aaron Rodgers are a match made in heaven, dude.
yeah, not good, dude.
Imagine that you're that mad when you're the one. Damn, you dug up your fucking ex. Oh, that is.
Yeah, that's so disrespectful.
Yeah,
Just mess with a person's grave and
That's
dig
just
it up.
eerie and move it away. So where the fuck did he put it?
I don't know exactly.
Or put
like,
her. Oh man. He said, "You know what I need to do after this? I need to go eat some dog meat real quick."
Yeah, I gotta
Eat some tuna
eat
and some
some
dog
dog.
meat.
What the fuck? That is terrible.
He could probably blame that on the brain worms.
I don't
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
was having worms at that point. He sounds like
He probably will try. You know these politicians, man. They're all the same.
that's true.
That's why we
I
need
don't know. Digging up, that's you. I think you won a lot of lotteries on that one. Not too many people digging up people's graves for that.
Yeah,
shit.
I don't think Trump would even do that, dude.
Yeah.
Trump is a
Well,
heartless
that's a waste
bastard.
of money for Trump. He's not doing that.
That's true.
This guy is so dead set on being upset about his ex-wife who committed suicide because of the shit that he did. He'd be like, it's getting kind of full in here. Fucking dig that bitch up.
Jeez.
Or take her out.
Yeah, I can't do that voice, man.
How can you try to be secret like that? They're like, so who called you? This guy had a fucked up voice, man. I don't know who to tell you. Yeah.
I think he's using one of those like modulator
Yeah.
things that like
He's probably using a
when they-
vocoder.
Yeah.
it's like when they interview like ex-mobsters to try to conceal their identity.
They're like, tell me your voice. How did
They
he
sound like
Yeah.
me. They're just like this.
It's like, please dig her body up and move it. Then it's like, please dig her
Please.
body up. Then it's like, please dig her. Like, oh, that guy did
It's
it.
like,
Yeah.
please dig her
Yeah.
body
The brain worms
up
are telling him to
and
do all this
move
stuff.
it. Oh, what a bad person. Dude.
dog.
Sicko.
Eat the dog.
Him or Biden. It's like,
Yeah. No, it's gonna be Kamala, our day drunk
it's gonna
queen.
be
Hell
be
yeah.
Kamala Biden, except it'll be Hunter
Kamala Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
or Harris Biden. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Harris, Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Who am I apologizing to? I don't give a damn about these
Yeah.
people.
I don't know anything of these motherfuckers.
I mean, it's the same person. It's just different name. You know, no big deal. Let's change it up. Let's do first names now on the ballot. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, Kamala Hunter.
Kamala Hunter.
Yeah,
not-
there you
this
go.
is a
It's
good ring, too.
2024. We're on
Yeah.
an informal basis with our politicians. We can tweet at them. We can email them. We can follow them on Instagram. We can poke them on Facebook.
That's the whole thing.
Nah, that's been outlawed since the 2010s.
I thought they brought it back for a minute. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I don't know.
We need to end this pod, man.
Yeah, this is going too long.
I'm going on about
Well-
nonsense that Johnny Walker's hitting.
Yeah. Well, that'll just about do it for us tonight, everybody. Please give us a 5-star rating and review over your podcast. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Send us an email at citywidepod@gmail.com. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Peace.
See ya.